Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 5, and today we will present the Shintoism. So, next page. Did you know that around 80% of Japanese people participate in Shinto practices, but only 3 to 4% themselves identifies as believer in Shinto? Some of them are practices Buddhism and Shintoism alongside without any contradiction. And pwede ba ka ikaw yourself mo anha sa mga shrines and mo practice and mo offer of prayers, but you don't need to identify yourselves as a Shinto, as a believer in Shinto. So in the next page is the origin. The word Shinto means Shen Tao, which Shen meaning divine beings and Tao meaning the way. Altogether, they mean the way of the gods. Now, the word Shinto wasn't really much used much until the 17th century. And it was believed that Shintoism first appeared in Japan between 300 BCE to 300 CE during the Yayoi period. Next. So, while several institutions and practices now associated with Shinto existed in Japan by the 18th century, various scholars have argued that Shinto as a distinct religion was essentially invented during the 19th century in Japan's Meiji era. So there are four types of Shinto. There is the state, shrine, sect, and folk. The state Shinto is the Imperial Japan's ideological use of the Japanese folk religion and traditions of Shinto. The state exercised control of shrines, finances, and training for priests to strongly encourage Shinto practices that emphasize the emperor as a divine being. The emperor that they mean here is Meiji, which was considered as a living kami until he renounced himself. The next type of Shinto is the Shrine Shinto. This is the closest to traditional form of Shinto that is said to date back to prehistoric times. The third type of Shinto is the sect Shinto that started in the 19th century and includes 13 major independent sects that are officially recognized by the Japanese government. So, in this type of Shinto, gi-recognize gid niya ang shrine as a government, gi-recognize siya sa government. Well, then, next type of Shinto, which is the folk Shinto, is not recognized by the various national reforms. It is a practice by ordinary Japanese people at their local shrines lang. It is a much more smaller scale compared to the other Shinto. So, in this type of Shinto, there are no formal shrines or priests na mo take care sa place. So, in the next page is to practice Shinto, one must worship the kami. What are kamis? So kamis are spirits found in all living things and non-living things. Kami control the forces and the nature. In order to attempt to win the favor of kami, one must pray or offer or visit their own respective shrines or any shrines. The next page, we will elaborate more what is the kami. So what is a kami? In translation, it means God or deity. But it's not really a good translation because kami can become is a wide variety has a wide variety from spirits of the landscape can be a kami, forces of the nature, and spirits of the dead and ancestors, warriors. Even so, that humans can also become kami. In the case of Tengen, a 10th century scholar that was so smart that he became the kami of academics when he died. So now people pray to him for luck in passing exams. Another example of this type of kami where they were once a human was Mikami Jinja, which was a man named Masayuki Fujiwara, who was a very spectacular hairdresser that he became a kami after that. In the next part, we'll discuss what is musubi. The spirit of musubi and becoming. Birth, accomplishment, combinations, the creating and harmonizing powers, the working of musubi has fundamental significance in Shinto because creative development forms the basis of the Shinto worldview. In addition to that, musubi unites everything. So the next page, we'll discuss What is the cycle of reciprocity between man and kami? So, as so for a man, ang tao is mag-respect sa kami. In return, on respecting the kami will take care of the man. For example, sa katong kami na akong na state, which is Mikami Jinja, a kami of hair. For example, ikaw tao, wala kay buhok, bald ka due to an various illness. You will have to respect the kami of hair, which is the Mikami Jinja, and in return, Mikami Jinja will give you a hair or tubuan kag buhok. There's also a concept of shinbatsu. So what is shinbatsu? Failure to perform the correct rituals or disrespecting kamis can lead to punishment or what is called as shinbatsu. Shinbatsu is usually created in a form of illness. So imong nakay buhok, imong binangan imong binangan si Mikami Jinja. Mikami Jinja wala man nanam ko buhok din ako kailangan nimo. So pwede si Mikami Jinja mohatag sa imo og shinbatsu or an illness na makakause sa imong hair na mo fall out. So in the next page will be the creation of story, which will be discussed by Ruther Corvera.
Continuing origin, creation story of Shintoism. In the beginning, the world split into the heavens and earth, and three kami deities of the heavenly realm came into being. Then, the first reeds took root and sprouted, and two more kami deities came to be. These first five kami deities were formless and had no partners. Thereafter, however, pairs of partner kami deities were born in succession. The seventh and final generation was the male Izanagi no Mikoto and the female Izanami no Mikoto. Before descending to the island, Izanagi no Mikoto took a heavenly spear and swirled it around the oceans of the earth since there was no land. Then an island appeared and then they descended. Izanagi and Izanami became aware of the differences in their bodies and decided to join together to give birth to the country. And so, they married by circling a sacred post 3 times and taking their vows. Izanami spoke her vows first, but their attempts to have children ended poorly. Uh, what they mean by attempts to have children that ended poorly was the first uh, the first child they have. It was a limbless and boneless child that they eventually threw away in the ocean, and that baby or child came to be a kami sooner. Um, Izanami spoke her first vows again, but this time Izanagi spoke his vows first. This time, they successfully gave birth to the islands of Japan and a host of other kami deities to give them shape. This included deity of the seas, the wind, the mountains, and all manner of natural phenomena. The land of death. Unfortunately, Izanami was gravely injured giving birth to the fire kami deity and soon died. Izanagi mourned and missed her terribly, and before long decided to travel to the land of the dead to get her back. A long time passed in Izanami's absence, and Izanagi grew impatient. At last, he decided to disregard Izanami's request and went to look for her. To his horror, he discovered her as a frightful, decaying corpse. Izanami was furious at being seen, and Izanagi fled in terror. He quickly exited the land of the dead. Izanami chased after him, but she soon found her way blocked by a large boulder and could follow Izanagi no further. Izanagi had placed the boulder and so trapped Izanami in the land of the dead. Izanagi's Misogi. After escaping, Izanagi declared the land of the dead an ugly and defiled place, and decided to purify himself by cleansing. This act is today considered the origin of Misogi, a ritual cleansing done at Shinto shrines and ceremonies, where one bathes or immerses oneself in water. As Izanagi washed his face, three significant deities were born. The sun kami Amaterasu, which is on the picture on the left. That's her. Ay, Amaterasu Omikami from his left eye. The moon kami Tsukyumi no Mikoto from his right eye, which is on the right. That's her. And the kami of the seas, Susano no Mikoto, which is that guy below this text, from his nose. Izanagi gave these three the children the duties of ruling respectively the heavenly realm, the night realm, and the seas.
So the purpose of Shintoism, as humans are thought to be fundamentally good and evil is believed to be caused by evil spirits, consequently, the purpose of most Shinto rituals is to keep away evil spirits by purifications, prayers, and offerings are also known as shinsen to the kami. Next slide. Okay, the Shinto, or the indigenous religion of Japan, emphasizes living with sincerity and virtue, possible only by an awareness of the divine. So the fundamental beliefs in Shinto are these four affirmations. Mainly, the first is the tradition and family, in which they believe that the family is the foundation in order to preserve their traditions. And then love in nature, which is holding nature sacred. And then the third is the misogi, or the ritual washing. This is a ritual bathing to spiritually and physically cleanse yourself before entering a shrine to worship the kami. So, ang kaning misogi actually is partner ni siya sa purification. So, ang misogi, it includes bathing sa ocean or standing sa waterfall. And aside, ani, daghan pa sila ilain na purification. So, nasa Timizo, Shibatsu, and Haraguchi. And ang kanang Timiso is before sila ma-enter sa shrine, naman ay water tank, no, and then naapod na siya wooden ladles. Ang kanang wooden ladles, mura siya kanang kabo bitaw, and then kanang wooden ladles mo na ilahang gamiton in order para maka rinse sila og water sa ilahang mouth. So first, imuha dapat hugasan imuhang left hand, and then sa right hand dito nimo ibutang ang water and mao to imong gamiton para i-rinse imuhang mouth. Kay dapat man daw dili gyud daw ka pwede directly dito nimo imnon sa wooden ladles. And then after nimo ma-rinse imong water sa imuhang mouth is di ba imo man ang iluwa. Dapat dili pud nimo siya ibalik dito sa water tank. Dapat iluwa nimo siya sa floor. And then napud sila kaning shubatsu. Aside sa 'di ba waterman ang sa misogi, ang gamit naman diri is salt. So, usually this purification is nani siya sa beginning sa sumo match, in which ang salt is nakaspread around the ring to keep the impurity. And then ang last is the haragushi, or the ritual one. So dili sa nagagamit og salt or water, but rather than the ritual one. So ang katong ritual one, mo to ilahang gina purify ang isa ka tao or ang bag-o nga sakyanan or a land before mag-start ang construction. This is to purify and para daw makahatag og good fortune para sa ilaha. And then the last one, it's the Matsuri, or the festival that worship and honor the kami. This is worshiping and honoring gods and ancestral spirits. So there is some Matsuri naman, or their festival. Diri makita nimo siya ang katong tulo nga na-mention kaganina sa purpose of Shintoism, which is on purification, prayers, and offerings, or the shinsen. And aside from that, naabot sila kaning cheerful community activities like kanang mikoshi. Mo ni siya ang portable Shinto shrine in which ang katong kami is gonna carry nila around the community para ma-showcase bitaw ang kanang kami sa outside world. And then sometimes gina-carry pud na nila ang mikoshi sa ocean naman para ma-purify gyapon siya. Mura gyapon siya katong sa misogi, pero rather than kato ang tao ang ilahang gina-purify, katong mismong mikoshi or ang kami ang ilahang gi-purify. And then their festivals are held twice a year to drive out pollutants or impurities. Next slide, please. And then the most common tomo is an emblem has three flames. I think dali ra man kayo na siya ma-identify from the picture itself, di ba? Ang yahang three flames. So kanang three flames niya, it reflects the threefold division of Shinto cosmology. Mainly, nag-represent na siya sa earth, sa heavens, and then sa humankind.
So purification. So sa Shinto is kuan kanang Na sila gitawag nga purification, it means nga mag-cleanse bitaw sila sa ilahang kuan, sa ilahang mga sins. So ang purification is generally referred as harai, also called as misugi. So ang harai is the general term for ritual purification in Shinto. So napod sila kaning gitawag nga misugi. So ang misugi kay based on sa akong na research kay ang misugi kay kuan siya sa unique and challenging practice of purification in traditional Japanese culture. Misugi involves immersing oneself in cold water or standing beneath a waterfall to purify the body and mind. So mag-stand sila sa kuan under sa sa waterfalls nga kuan cold bitaw ang kuan kanang tubig nga awas sa waterfalls para ma-purify ang ilahang body and mind. So the purpose of purification is to remove spiritual pollution, which is called tsumi or kigari. This pollution is anything that separates someone from the creative musubi nature of kami. So tsumi o kigari, next. So ang example sa kuan sa kigari kay muna siya ang or uncleanliness, death, blood, disease. So nabutang ni siya sa kuan sa kaning sa kigari kay kuan, it's because nga kanang kuan bitaw kanang natural ni siya nga mahitabo sa isa ka tawo, which is ang death o ang kaning ang illness bitaw. Tapos sa kuan sa tsumi, next, kay muna siya ang kanang kuan tabu violation bitaw. Ang example kay isang crime, murder, and disrespect. So kuan ang tsumi kay pwede bitaw siya ma-remedied. So ang ang pwede buhaton nimo para ma kuan nimo ang imong nakumit bitaw nimo nga sin is kanang kuan katong purification para ma-cleanse nimo ang kuan imong sala ug ang imong uncleanliness nga kuan ang imong nakumit. Next. So while there is no central holy book definitively describing Shinto tradition, there are few widely revered and respected texts. The Kojiki record of ancient matters. So ang kaning the Kojiki kay muni siya ang kuan kanang records about sa the born ay the born of kaning kuan islands of Japan. So ang kuan ang Rokukushi, the six national histories, is a general term for Japan's six earliest national histories. These six books chronicle the mythology and history of Japan from the earliest time, AD 887. So ang kaning kuan pangkatulo, the Shoko Nihongi and its Nihon Shoki, continuing chronicle of Japan kay kuan the official court chronicle for Japan's 8th century. So the Shoko Nihongi includes much valuable information about the economy, coinage, trade, and diplomatic relation with Tang China, Parhey, and Celia. So the last one is the Jinno Shotoki, or Shinto and Japanese politics and history, written in the 14th century. So set forth the mystic and nationalist doctrine that Japan have a unique superiority among because of its unbroken succession of divine rulers. Orato.
Shrines. Shrines are used for worship of God and are public, though private shrines are also used. Shrines have tori, a distinctive Japanese gate, which is made of two uprights and two crowbars. They serve as part of the barrier to separate the living world and the world of the cat. Two guardian animals are often placed at each side of the gate to protect the entrance. Currently, there are over 100,000 shrines in operation. Kami are evoked at many important ceremonies, such as reading an entrance into a university. For funerals, Buddhism is usually looked upon because Shinto focuses on how to live one life as opposed to how to prepare for the afterlife. Gushintia. Gushintia is an object where a kami lives, but it's not the kami itself. The shrines and the Gushintia is taking care of the priest called Kanushi.
Destiny. Modern Shinto ideas about afterlife largely revolve around the idea that the spirit survives bodily death and continues to assist the living. So they believe that katod ang mga spirit na survives bodily death kay continue to assist the living or they guide the Shinto's living. After 33 years, it then becomes part of the family kami or uhigami, describes as spirits and deities. These ancestral spirits are sometimes thought to reside in the mountains. So also they believe the sum of spirits kay moadto daw sa mountains or from where they descend to take part in agriculture events. So dili lang mountains but also the agriculture events or mga agriculture or mga nature na napalibot sa ato. So Shinto's afterlife beliefs also include the Obake. Obake restless spirits who died in bad circumstances and often seek revenge. So Obake is kuan siya bad ghost na namatay na murag in bad circumstances nya ni and seek revenge. Sa next. The ultimate goal. The overall aims of Shinto ethics are to promote harmony and purity in all spheres of life. So pareha sa Confucianism kay they believe pod na ay they promote pod the harmony and purity. So purity is not just spiritual purity but moral purity, having a pure and sincere heart. Next. Spirituality. Shinto worship. Shinto worship is highly ritualized and follows strict conventions of protocol, order, and control. It can take place in the home or in shrines. So ang Shintos daw kay grabe sila ka strict about worshiping in in kami or in their kuan kanang gods. And the spirit of Shinto worship in keeping the Shinto values, Shinto ritual should be carried out in a spirit of sincerity, cheerfulness, and purity. Shinto worship and the senses. Shinto rituals is intended to satisfy the senses as well as the minds of those taking part. So the way in which it is carried out is the huge importance. Shinto ceremonies have strong aesthetic elements. The settings and props, the sounds, the dress of priests, and the language and speech are all intended to please the kami to whom the worship is offered. So because Shinto are very strict sa pag-worship. So, they have aesthetic elements. So, kining mga props, the sounds, kanang language na ilang gamiton, and the dress of the priest. So, example sa dress na suoton sa mga Shinto priest is kariguno. And the settings of worshiping are private and public worship, worship at home, or also called kami-dana or kami-shelf, and worship at a shrine. Next. There are quotes by Yukitaka Yamamoto. So, to be fully alive is to have an aesthetic perception of life because a major part of the world's goodness lies in its often as unspeakable beauty. So that's all. Thank you.